Lethal Company, a game that started out as a passion project from a Roblox developer, has now completely blown up online out of nowhere. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you why this game has seemingly blown up out of nowhere. Because this is what makes Lethal Company so awesome. So what is it exactly that makes this game special? Because technically Lethal Company is not the first of its kind. We have seen plenty of other co-op horror games, but none of them match the greatness of Lethal Company. Games like Phasmophobia and Devour that just get stale after a certain amount of playthroughs. But see, this is where Lethal Company differs. No matter how many times you play Lethal Company, the game will never get stale. And this is due to one huge feature that's in the game that most other co-op horror games do not have. And that huge feature is procedurally generated maps. Now once again, it's not the only game to have this feature. SCP Containment Breach was doing this years ago. But there's just something different about Lethal Company's procedural generation that makes it better. Every time you land on a moon, the game will have procedurally generated weather. And these weather systems completely change how you play the game. For example, if the weather is stormy and you're carrying metal objects outside, which is pretty much the entire point of the game, you will periodically have to drop those items or you will get struck by lightning by Zeus himself. But not only is most of the game procedurally generated, you won't even encounter the same types of monsters in each playthrough, leaving you second guessing yourself on which monster you just saw crawling down the hallway. Which leads right into the second biggest thing that Lethal Company is great at, and that is the horror. This game is amazing at being scary, and let me tell you why. Now I know some of you will say the game is more funny than it is scary, and I can agree with that. Sometimes this game is absolutely hilarious.
Obviously, there's nothing in this pain.
Oh my god. But if you've played Lethal Company before, you will know that being by yourself is actually really terrifying. And there are multiple reasons why I think this game is scarier than most horror games I've played before. Number one, and obviously, is the monsters. The monsters are just creepy and terrifying in themselves. But I personally think there is more to this game that makes this game scary than just the monsters. Pretty much all horror games have monsters that are chasing you. But that doesn't necessarily make the game scary in itself. The procedural generation plays a huge part in why this game is scary because you never know what to expect. And the fear of the unknown is humanity's greatest fear. So not knowing which monsters are about to come attack you, you're always on edge. It could be as simple as a little facehugger or a giant dog ready to rip you to shreds. But not only that, this game's audio is absolutely amazing. If you ever take the time to sit back and listen to the atmosphere in Lethal Company, you will be absolutely terrified. There are so many different sounds that plays in the background just to put you on edge. And when all the other players die in horrific ways and you're the last one alive, you're absolutely shitting yourself. There's even a monster that is a little girl that haunts one player specifically, and nobody else in your team can see or hear the girl but you. And most of the time, this little girl only comes out when all of your friends are dead. And in my personal opinion, this game is probably the scariest game I've ever played. In most horror games, you only have about one monster that is chasing you down, and after a while it starts to get stale. Because like I said, the fear of the unknown is our greatest fear. And once you take that away and you know what is coming, you really stop being scared and it becomes boring. But like I said, Lethal Company avoids this just because of the random nature of the game. But the next great thing that makes Lethal Company amazing is the gameplay. In most horror games, there's really no sense of progression. Usually there's always one goal in mind, and that's either to escape a building or collect a set amount of items. But Lethal Company has you collecting metal scrap to sell to the company. And if you meet your quota, the game gives you money to spend. You can spend this money on items to help you deal with monsters, decorations for your ships, and many other things. Thus, giving you a reason to go in and face the monsters again. The game never gets stale and boring because you are working toward a goal. Whether it's to save up money to buy this certain item you haven't tried yet, or to try out the new levels because those later game moons cost money to go to. But if you fail to get enough money and reach the quota, the game will literally just reset your save, and you'll have to restart from the very beginning. Which also adds tension to the gameplay because you don't want the other players to die because you will pay for it. But what I would have to say is the best thing in Lethal Company is the amazing voice chat. I have to really give props to the developer because this voice chat is the best I've ever heard.
I'm in the situation right now.
Oh, he's right here!
Wait a second. I do not like that sound. Oh, shit. For example, if you go inside the building, your voice will start to echo. And if your friend is in another room, their voice will be muffled and you can't really understand what they're saying. Another example is when players are underwater, their voice gets drowned out and they sound like they're drowning, which is absolutely hilarious. This game's voice chat is so good. And playing with your friends in Lethal Company has got to be the most funny experience I've had in a long time. Because when other players die, you can no longer hear them anymore. It's like they're not there. So 1 minute you'll hear your friend screaming across the room, and then there'll just be complete silence, which is both hilarious and terrifying at the same time.
That's good.
I really wanna know where you at.
Imagine, dude. Imagine.
And I would personally say that Lethal Company would not be nowhere near as good as it is without the amazing voice chat that the game has. Lethal Company, hands down, is the best horror game that I've ever played. Not only is it scary, but it is also utterly hilarious. It's weird because I never thought a game could be funny and scary at the same time. But here in 2023, Lethal Company accomplishes that with flying colors.
We gotta get some money out of this shit. Come on. Oh my god!
There are so many things that make Lethal Company great. Honestly, too many to fit into a video format. But not only is the game just in early access, the developer for this game wants to update the game weekly or bi-weekly, giving the game all new content to explore, with new maps, new monsters, and tons of new items. If Lethal Company was just a finished product right now, I would say this game is still amazing. But this is just the beginning of how amazing this game is going to be. The more stuff that the developer adds into this game, the more terrifying it's going to get. Because soon, there's going to be more monsters, more maps, more unknown things to explore. And our greatest fear is the fear of the unknown. The more random Lethal Company gets makes the game absolutely better. And to think that this is just the beginning of content updates that this game will receive just blows my mind because of how polished the game already is. But one more huge thing that makes this game so great isn't the game itself, it's the community for Lethal Company. More specifically, the modders. The game just released and there's already a huge group of modders making the game even better. Now, as of right now, the mods are pretty niche and hard to find, but that's just because the game just released. But I've played with a few mods and they're all great. Some of them make the game harder, some just fix some bugs, and some just add the ability to have up to 20 players in your lobby, instead of the base 4 players that you can normally have. But I've spoken with some of the mod creators for Lethal Company, and they have figured out how to add their own content into the game. Meaning we're going to get new maps, monsters, and items. And I personally cannot wait to see what modders come out with for this game. Because not only will we get content updates for this game, but we'll also get amazing mods to complement those updates as well. It's like I said, there are so many great things that makes Lethal Company amazing. And I'm sure I missed a few in this video. But in my opinion, if you're looking for a great game to play with friends, I would definitely recommend Lethal Company in 2023. It's by far one of the best horror games that I've ever played, and is definitely the best horror game of 2023. But if you guys think that I missed something that makes Lethal Company great, go ahead and comment down below. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say about the game. But yeah, guys, that's what makes Lethal Company so awesome. But anyways, guys, peace out.